Welcome to the Search Bar Podcast, where we always start off by asking if your marketing has gone bitter or sour. Sit back and enjoy top shelf strategies right here at the Search Bar Season 2, where we're having a blast serving up fresh perspectives to help you and your digital marketing thrive. I am your host, Eric Ritter, self-proclaimed SEO sommelier and CEO of Digital Neighbor, a friendly neighborhood marketing and SEO company based here in Tampa, Florida. In this season of the Search Bar, we'll deep dive into key SEO elements and trending digital topics every business owner should know. After covering the basics, we'll apply these strategies in real time to Tampa Bay businesses through our happy hour edits. As part of these SEO elements in today's episode, I'll be diving into the importance of reporting and analytics in your SEO strategy and website performance. But don't worry if you miss anything today. I'll post a downloadable reporting and analytics for SEO checklist on my site and include the link in the show notes. Let's get started. Number one, why is reporting and analytics in the SEO process so crucial? So first off, to me, this is really personal to me because I'm a data lover. It's just so important to me personally to make sure that everything is being measured correctly and that everything is being accounted for. And why is that important? It's important because no strategy is perfect out of the gate. And that's really where reporting and analytics comes in. Consistent analysis of all the correct data, the KPIs and everything help you refine and scale campaigns for future success, right? So you've probably heard it before, and I'm going to repeat it here. Data-driven decisions lead to smarter, more effective marketing strategies, period. If you don't know what people are doing when they're coming to your website, how are you going to know if your strategy is working or not? I've probably said this before. I'm going to repeat it again. SEO is a marathon, not a sprint. So you need to have regular reporting to help stay on track and make sure that you are progressing in the right direction, taking those right steps. And if not, so that you can adjust as needed. Also, analytics helps you understand not just what is happening, but also why it's happening, allowing you to pivot or maybe even double down if something is working as needed. Let's talk about where to start with reporting and analytics, right? And for me, that's data integrity. Like I said, I'm a data lover, a numbers lover, but before you really dive into those numbers, you need to make sure the data is actually accurate. So data integrity really is that foundation for actionable insights. So what does that mean? That means you need to make sure your analytics tools are set up correctly. Your Google Analytics is on all the pages of your website, that it's tracking people correctly. It's not double tagging them or double tracking them, making sure that your goals, events, conversions, key events are all tracking correctly. And that's just so important. And especially, if you haven't looked at it in a while, you might want to audit that and make sure, are you actually tracking the goals and conversions you want to on your website? You also want to make sure that you're measuring the correct and right metrics for business goals. So for example, if your goal is sales, you need to focus on revenue and transactions. If it's brand awareness, you're going to focus on impressions and reach, right? So you need to make sure that whatever is important, that you're measuring that accurately. So there's some common mistakes here that I see, right? That you're tracking irrelevant metrics, you're spending time on that. You're not filtering out internal traffic. So just find out what those IPs are of the office and exclude those visits so that you don't count every time you come to the website to make some updates or look up some data there. And obviously, again, ignoring data quality, right? So that's, again, the foundation, because down the road in a couple years, when you see some funky numbers, you want to be able to exclude data integrity and saying, okay, well, these funky numbers are real because we made sure that we're tracking everything correctly. So I talked about when you're checking the data here, brings up the question, how often should you run these reports, right? Or maybe the reporting cadence. So the reporting cadence should align, again, with your goals, investment, and who the report is for, right? Those are the three things. What are you trying to achieve? What is your investment in marketing and where? And who are you reporting to? Because not all reports are or should be created equal. What your CEO wants to see is absolutely different than what the marketing team needs or maybe your content team, right? So diving into that a little bit more, the cadence. Monthly reports are most common, right? Because we just function as human beings, as businesses on a monthly cadence, right? And so you want to make sure that each month you know what happened the last 30, 31 days. But let's say you have a higher stakes campaign, right? Where you're investing a lot of money. Maybe, there's a Black Friday campaign or a Cyber Monday campaign. You want to keep a really close eye on that. That could be daily, weekly monitoring to make sure that everything's going correct. Nothing is worse than investing money in a paid campaign only to realize after a week that the landing page was broken and you're sending traffic nowhere. I've been there before, trust me. So you learn the hard way that you need to make sure that you're not just looking at it weekly or monthly. You need to sometimes look at it weekly, daily, sometimes even hourly, depending on how much you're investing. Let's talk about customizing reports, right? So again, that's based on the audience. Ideally, everyone should be getting their own report based on their audience. So the CEO at the top level, the C-suite might care about bottom line impacts, right? How much am I investing? How much money am I making? Show me that. Then CMOs or marketing directors, marketing managers maybe want a mix of those higher level metrics, but also deeper insights and understanding what are we actually doing? What are those inputs? And those are the bottom line, the marketing managers, maybe even the content manager, right? They want to understand those input metrics. If you're a content manager, how many pieces of content are you writing? How's that content performing, right? Where the CEO doesn't really care about that. He cares about how's that driving the bottom line. And also keep in mind, don't just report for the sake of it. Tailor each report to answer key questions that move the needle, right? So impressions, time on site, pages per visit might be fun things to look at, but does it really matter? Or are you looking at how many visits it takes for someone to turn into a customer, which gives you much deeper insights? Speaking of that, let's talk about KPIs, which stands for Key Performance Indicators. And let's talk about the most important metrics to analyze. You can track hundreds, maybe even thousands of metrics, but really not all of them matters. I gave some examples just a minute ago. The key really is aligning the KPIs with the goals of the business, the brand. What you really want to look at with KPIs, you want to break it down into 4 different areas. Number 1 is you start off with the marketing performance, which is what happens before someone comes to the actual website, right? So for SEO, you're looking at how many search impressions am I getting? How many clicks? How are my rankings doing, right? How are those rankings? Are they going up and down? Are they yo-yoing, as we like to call in the SEO world? That's something you want to keep a track of. So if SEO is working well, you should see a steady increase in organic impressions and click-through rates to the website. And if you're doing a paid campaign, same thing. What are my paid impressions and what are the click-through rates? How is my marketing performing? Next up is you want to look at the acquisition. Acquisition means understanding where the traffic to the website came from. So what traffic is performing best? Was it my organic search? Was it my paid ads? Was it my social media? And really understanding this helps you allocate your resources effectively. If your paid media is converting better than organic, you might want to look at the PPC and invest more there. Or if your organic isn't performing, vice versa, maybe you need to double your efforts there and create more content. So that's looking at your marketing efforts and then understanding the acquisition channels of the website. Once people are on the website, the next step is to look at their behavior. So you want to understand what users do once they're on your website. Are they engaging? Are they bouncing? And I mentioned them earlier as kind of those, sometimes we call those vanity metrics, but they can be very insightful. The time on site, the pages per session, engagement rates provide clarity of what's working and what not. Maybe you can crystallize some pages that are doing really, really well and some that aren't. And you can then look at from the pages that are doing really well and figure that out and then apply that to the pages that aren't doing so well. Maybe you have a video on that page and that's why people are spending so much time on there and they're engaging, they're converting. Well, that means you need to add videos to the other pages as well. Also, if users are leaving after just, let's say, going to one page, maybe that's bad content, right? And relevance and a bad user experience. So looking at the behavior helps you improve your website to create a better user experience and convert people, right? So again, just to sum up, you want to understand how your marketing campaign is doing, how people are getting to the website, which is really important, getting traffic there. Don't get me wrong, but that's maybe half the battle. The other half is making sure that once they're on the website, they have that great user experience and they turn into potential clients, potential customers for you. One way you can measure that is making sure that they're doing what you want on the website by tracking goals and conversions, or as analytics calls it, key events. So that could be sales, signups, form submissions. That's a specific type of behavior which goes beyond just regular behavior on the website, right? So for example, if signups are low on your website, you might need to optimize that call to action or simplify your forms because people just are getting freaked out. You're asking too many questions, so they're not signing up. So that's why those are the 4 things you want to look at. Again, the marketing performance, the acquisition, the behavior, and then finally goals and conversions. Those are the KPIs that you need to look at and make sure they're aligning with your business goals. So next up, let's look at what tools should be used for reporting and analytics, right? There's a lot of different tools out there. I'm sure there's one that you've actually really heard of, and I'm a big fan, a big proponent of it, because you don't need every single tool under the sun out there. There's just the one that provides the most relevant insights is the one that you want to use, and that's Google Analytics. It's really the go-to for understanding traffic, behavior, conversions. Once people reach that website, it tells you what people are doing there. Now, when it comes to SEO reporting, there's another tool that goes hand in hand with analytics, Google Search Console. You might have heard of that one as well, and it's really great for monitoring search performance. But it also helps you understand if there's problems on the website, indexing issues, that your keywords aren't performing. And if you have any more questions there, make sure you check out my podcast on technical SEO, where we go much more in depth in Google Search Console and how to use that for monitoring there. A couple other tools I want to mention is Google Tag Manager. We love Google Tag Manager. It helps you manage all the tracking codes without having to dig into the website's backend. So for example, if you want to deploy pixels, hey, I'm going to run a Meta Facebook campaign, you can then put that on the website through Google Tag Manager and control that. Or, hey, I'm running an email campaign with MailChimp and I need to track that better. I can do all that with Google Tag Manager. So it's a tool that helps with data integrity, something we talked about earlier, and then helps with that reporting once you're ready for that. Some other tools that you can use are dashboarding tools, such as Google Data Studio, which I'm a big fan of, or even one that we use personally called Agency Analytics. And Agency Analytics combines all your different data analytics tools into one place, so that way you have one place to log in and you can see how your marketing is performing, how your website's performing, how your paid ads are performing, and everything else. So there's a lot of different tools out there, but bottom line is make sure you have Google Analytics on your website. So now we've talked about what kind of data to track, what kind of tools to use. So once you have the data, the key is turning those insights into action, right? Data should drive decisions. So what are you going to actually do with it? So you've built a report, you're tracking it, right? So what you want to do there is look at the data and figure out what kind of things you can do. So if you have different scenarios, let's say your traffic is down, you can investigate changes. What caused it? Are my SEO rankings down? Or were there algorithmic updates that led to that? Was there a drop in backlinks? Or are my paid ads down, right? Or all of a sudden my cost per clicks went up. When my cost per clicks go up, my budget doesn't go as far, I have much fewer clicks, right? So those are the things you want to keep track of so that you can understand and investigate what's happening. It also helps you create action plans, right? You can break down the next steps into short-term fixes and long-term strategy adjustments based on your reporting that you've set up. And finally, it allows you to forecast and create a strategy around that. So you can use the data to predict trends. So if you're seeing one blog post or maybe one area of the website perform really well, you can use that to see a trend and then create more content around that and plan ahead. Next up, I want to talk about some common mistakes that I see businesses make with SEO reports. Because even with the best tools, reporting can go wrong if you're not careful. So here are some things to talk about, to think about, maybe if you're an internal marketing department, or if you're just getting started with this, if you're a one-person shop there. And we've talked about some of them before, which is focusing on those vanity metrics. Just because you can measure it doesn't mean it matters. For example, traffic is great, but honestly, it's meaningless without context. So did that traffic really help you complete your goals? So for example, we have one client that we created all this great blog content for, and it's bringing in literally tens of thousands of visitors every single month, but it's informational blog content. So they're coming to the website, they're reading that information, and they're leaving again. So the traffic is great, but those people aren't turning into customers, even though we're getting a lot of traffic. So that's one thing to look at, right? Is what can we do to actually bring in the right kind of traffic? Another mistake I see is ignoring data trends. So people sometimes just look at snapshots, right? Hey, this month my traffic is really down, but they're not looking at the bigger picture. Maybe it's the summer lull. It's June, July, kids are out of school, people are on vacation, traffic is always down, my sales are always down. So if you look at data from previous years, you'll be able to see those trends and understand actually I'm always down this time of year. And that allows you to plan ahead as well to know in the summer things are going to be down and make business decisions accordingly. Also, not taking action, right? So I see that a lot. Data without action is useless. So always use the insights to refine your strategy. So people might, we had a client who came to us like, yeah, for the last 6 months, this traffic has been down with conversions. I'm like, okay, well, you guys have been looking at this for 6 months. What action have you taken? Oh, no action yet. So whatever you do want to make sure that you take action, that you do something based on the KPIs, based on the traffic, based on everything that you're tracking there. So I think I really covered everything when it comes to SEO reporting and analytics there. We started off by talking about why it's so important, how you should measure, what tools you should use. So really, I want to sum it up here at the best parts here at the end, right? So if there's one thing you take away today from this podcast is the SEO reporting and analytics checklist. So there's 5 different areas here that I'm going to go over real quick, but don't worry if you don't get it all, is you can just go to my website and download this checklist. You can read the blog post where I'm going to go into many, many more details here than on the podcast. And you can download the PDF and do this and follow along at home if you want to. So I'm going to start off here. Number 1 is when you're looking at reporting is starting off with marketing performance. So what does that mean in your checklist? That makes sure that you're tracking all the key metrics like SEO rankings, ad impressions, and clicks to understand how the marketing efforts are performing. That's that first layer. It's before people actually come to the website, understanding what those early indicators are. Then number 2 is analyzing your visitors and how they came to the website, understanding how they're arriving at the site, what pages they're landing on, what are those top landing pages, is organic search driving one place, social media driving somewhere else, and understanding how those different channels, those different sources are performing on the website. So that way you can understand if you need to maybe optimize a page because it's not getting the traffic you want it to, or maybe your paid ad landing page that you created isn't converting people into customers the way you want to. So that's number 2, is really understanding that interplay between how people are coming to the website, what they're doing on the website, which leads me to number 3, which is the behavior, right? The behavior is what people do once they're on the website. So you really need to review what users do on the site, including pages visited, time spent, and their navigation paths, right? So are people getting lost somewhere? Are they getting frustrated? Because one thing that we didn't get into is visual analytics. There's tools out there that let you record visitors on the website, such as Hotjar or Crazy Egg, where you can see their behaviors on the website. And maybe there's rage clicks happening, right? Where people get frustrated and they're trying to click on something, it's not working, or they're in a dead end and they move back to a different page because they got frustrated there. So understanding kind of that user experience on the website is really important. And that's part of number 3, is understanding that behavior. Number 4 is goals and conversions. So you need to understand what your business goals are and what you need to measure on your website to see if your website is performing or not. So what are those desired actions you want people to do, such as filling out forms, making purchases, signing up for newsletters? Focus really on that business impact. And it's probably the most important one. And quite frankly, You might even want to start here and work your way backwards, right? So you want to understand, what is my business goal? Based on my business goal, what kind of things do I want people to do on the website, and what kind of marketing efforts can help achieve that? Number 5, reporting cadence. Talked about that a little bit earlier. Monthly is the most common one, but you really want to determine how often to review reports. And sometimes you want to have more than one type of report. You might have that monthly report for ongoing analysis, and then maybe you have an annual for big picture insights and understanding trends that you need to look at on an annual basis. Are my rankings falling over time? That's something you might not see if you're looking month over month, if they're only sliding one spot. But if you add that up over 12 months, now you went down 12 spots in rankings. That's something that an annual big picture report will give you. So that's why you want to look at reporting cadence. Again, that was the SEO reporting and analytics checklist there with the 5 different points. But again, if you didn't catch all that, just make sure you head over to my website so that you can download it for yourself and learn a lot more about it. That's it for today, guys. That was all I had to say about reporting and analytics. If you have any SEO or digital marketing questions, feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. As the CEO of Digital Neighbor, I'm always excited to discuss these topics, and be sure that you're liking and commenting on the videos as well I'm posting on LinkedIn. Oh, and before you go, I'd love if you could leave a review for the podcast. And I promise that I will read every single review on a future episode and give a shout out to all our listeners. Your feedback also helps me improve and keep the conversation going. So why not just leave a review right now? I can't wait to read them all. I hope I filled your glass with digital wisdom, and look forward to having you join us on the next episode of The Search Bar. Thank you so much, everyone. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for watching and listening today. Make sure you head over to my website to download your very own checklist so that you can do your very own reporting and analytics. Thank you so much.